Hey guys, my name is Matt Masson. I'm a professional photographer based in Cape Town. I'm a Sony Alpha ambassador and I shoot weddings and commercial photography. I've been shooting for about 10, 12 years now professionally, and I love my job and I love my work. I love people and I love working with people. So when this pandemic hit, I don't know, I'm quite sure you guys had the same kind of impact on your businesses, but I had a lot of clients postpone their weddings and their events from 2020 to 2021, and some of them have had to cancel altogether as well. So it's been a very, very difficult year for us as photographers, as people photographers. But I wanted to go over some tips and tricks today that'll help you get set up completely from A to Z in terms of shooting a product commercially, which can be used professionally and commercially for, you know, high-end work. Using what you have around the house. I'm not going to go too fancy with all my equipment set up. I have a nice fancy light here, but I'll try and use it as little as possible. And I'm going to try and make things as simple and easy to understand as possible. I really want you guys to get a lot from this webinar. And yeah, I'd love it if you guys could comment with any questions, and I'll be able to come back and answer the questions after this, after you've watched them. Yeah, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy this one. So to start off, I'm a firm believer that photographers should try and diversify their skills. Photography, if you're doing photography full-time, you have to look at your photography business as just that, as a business. And in any business, you need to diversify your income. You cannot rely on one income source for your entire work or your entire salary. So if you're focusing entirely on weddings and not getting any other work anywhere else, that could be a problem, like it's been for a lot of wedding photographers this year. A lot of wedding photographers have had to postpone their weddings now to 2021, and some have had to cancel their weddings altogether. And I think we're going to see quite a substantial effect on the wedding industry altogether over the next year or so. I don't think we're just going to snap back to how it was and we're going to kind of carry on with weddings. I think we're going to see couples and we're going to see clients be a little bit more conservative in their approach to weddings. Maybe not as many people, maybe not as extravagant, maybe more destination weddings. We're going to see a lot of different types of things happen. So I would like you guys to try and challenge yourselves with this specific video. I want you to try and focus on something that isn't people oriented. And trying to develop that as an income source for you. I'm going to go through exactly how I do that and how I've managed to do that with my commercial work. A lot of people think that you need a studio to do commercial photography. Yes, a studio helps, but it's not really that, it's not 100% necessary for a lot of the time. You're able to get away with some really great photos and make some really great photos with what you have around the house. So what I'm going to run through today is the just basics of product photography and kind of commercial photography. Just very, very simple how to achieve great shots, what the clients want, and that kind of stuff. I'm gonna talk about how to approach businesses to shoot their products. So how to actually get in touch with a business for the first time, how to pitch to that business, and how to actually try and get product from them and get them as a client to shoot for them and kind of maintain a relationship going forward. It's really, really an important step, and I've done it for ages now, and it works really, really well. I'm going to go through how to design a product photography set. The set we're going to be shooting today is very, very simple, but the results we get from this shoot will be very awesome. They'll be beautiful and they'll be perfect for putting on Instagram or running an advert. And you can even run a magazine ad with the image we'll create today, which is exactly what your clients will want. If you're creating something that's really, really high quality, really, really professional, they're going to love you for that, and they're going to love working with you. I'm going to go through two different lighting setups. One will be a natural light setup. Now it's a very rainy day outside, so we don't have much natural light coming in, but I'm going to show you what you can do in specific situations like this to make sure you get great photos. Even though we have very little light, there's some little tips and tricks and hacks that I use just to kind of make sure we get really good photos anyway. And then I'm going to go through using strobes in product photography as well. This is you know, we have kind of like two levels here. One is like the more entry level, natural light only. We'll use reflector, which most people can achieve, and we'll go into a more higher end. I'll use my strobe, and we'll actually make a proper light setup with strobes to get a much higher quality image. So that's basically the outline for today's webinar, and let's just jump right in. Cool. So to start off, I'm going to go through the process that I have when I'm shooting a product or when I'm shooting commercial work. I'm going to start off with my processes, but this might not be the same for you. I have a portfolio for product and commercial work, so I'm able to approach clients confidently and send them specific work that is relevant to their brand. But if you don't have a product portfolio yet, you can just flip all of these steps on their head, and you can start with the shoot basically. So go to the end of the video, watch that first, and then come back to where we are now. Or you just watch this and then just save the video, rewatch it. I promise you'll get a lot from this. Cool. So I'm gonna just go onto my phone quickly. I'm gonna hit record just so I can show you how I approach businesses, because I think this is super important. So I'm on my phone right now. This is just my iPhone, and I use Instagram to approach businesses almost always, because when you're talking to a business, you're most likely going to be talking to, when you DM someone on Instagram, you're probably going to be talking to the owner of the business or a representative of the business. It's almost always the case. A lot of small businesses run their own Instagram pages. So I'm going to open up Instagram here, and I'm going to put the thing up on the screen, put the Instagram thingy on the screen, and then I'm going to go and show you guys how I actually approach a business. So let's have a look here, and we're going to go to, for example, here. This is a company that is in Durban. They're in Durban, on the other side of the country. I love this restaurant. It's called Spigger. They're one of my favorite restaurants. And if I wanted to approach Spigger and say, hey, we'd love to shoot your products, we'd love to shoot your food, we would love to work with you at some point, I think this is one of the best ways to actually approach a business. So I'm going to go here and just hit message. And you can actually see I've messaged them before just for fun. But I'm going to say here to them, hey guys, we absolutely love your brand. I think you can actually change that to I would be speaking as my business there. But I say, I absolutely love your brand and what you stand for. And I'd love to create some content for you on the house. Let me know when we can set up a 30-minute shoot, and I'll come through and photograph, photograph a couple dishes you serve. And I'm going to say a little fire emoji because that's my favorite emoji. And I would just hit send. And then you just wait to see what the response is. So that's what you do. I mean, it's really quite simple. You send an email, you send a DM, you contact someone for the first time. You can do the exact same thing over email. If you find companies' addresses, email them and pitch them your kind of proposal. I will get a response back from Spigger, this restaurant that I just contacted, and we'll most likely put together a 30-minute shoot. So I've offered them now a 30-minute shoot just on the house for free. I think that's a great way, personally, I think it's a really great way to just get your foot in the door with a new business that you've never worked with before. Just to send them a message, be like, hey guys, I see you guys, you can send exactly what I said right there, or you can change it up. You can say, hey, I could see you could benefit from some photography here, or it doesn't actually matter. Whatever you say, it needs to be relevant to them, and create value for that client to the point where it's like they can't say no to what you're doing. You go there, you spend 30 minutes of your time shooting their food or whatever. You probably get a couple slices of pizza out of it, and you'll be able to make some beautiful, beautiful images for your portfolio, which you can use to then sell your work to other clients. I'm not saying you're just going to get everyone who you contact is going to reply to you. That's never going to happen. I mean, I must have messaged 300 people in the space of 3 weeks. Honestly, 300 brands in the space of 3 weeks. But it's about that dedication and actually keeping at it, keeping your head down and trying to contact as many people as possible. And that's just a really great way to actually get your foot in the door with brands. If you're not that confident, if you're not feeling like you need to just get over that, first of all, get over that like hurdle, companies love to hear from people who offer them value, love to hear and love to get things. I mean, we all love to get things for free. So if a company is getting, photography from you for free, if you impress them to the point where they can never say no again, they'll pay for your services. I've done it, it's worked for me so many times. But if you don't want to go that route, go out and buy the product. Go out to Pick and Pay, Woolworths, wherever you want to go, buy a bottle of tomato sauce. Shoot that at home. We're going to be shooting a bottle of gin today that I actually contacted through Instagram, and they sent me the gin to shoot and send them some content. So we're going to be shooting that gin. But you could go out to a bottle store and buy a bottle of gin and shoot it in a very beautiful way. And that's really easy. I mean, you can enjoy the gin afterwards too. Never mind. You kind of win there. So it doesn't matter what process you want to go for. Try and get the product first of all, so that you can actually shoot it. Right, so we're going to go through now shoot planning, how you actually plan and prepare for the shoot, what you want to kind of consider when you're going through images to get ideas and get a feel for the type of images you want to create. And for that, I like to use Pinterest. So I'm going to get open my laptop in front of me now. And I have Pinterest open. I've just looked up gin bottle photography because we're going to be shooting a bottle of gin. The company that we're shooting is called Royal Flush Gin. And you can see this right here is their Instagram page. These are the kind of photos that they like to use. You can see it's quite a high-end kind of luxury brand that they want to kind of portray. But it's I think we could create something really, really nice, something a little bit different. So yeah, I'm quite excited for this one. And I want to kind of incorporate black into the shot because their bottle is black. And I want to really kind of enhance, kind of highlight the bottle, but still have a bit of a darker black feeling to the image. Cool. So I've gone across to Pinterest. I've tapped in gin bottle photography. I've got a whole bunch of different options here to look at. Just having a quick look. I really love the simplicity of this type of shot. Also really simple to make at home, not too difficult. This is obviously done very, very well with proper softboxes, lighting and studio equipment, but you don't really have to do that to get something like that. And I'm going to show you what I mean just now. This is beautiful. I love this kind of shot. So that might be something we could look at as well. Maybe this, something along this line where it's very, very dark and moody. Maybe without the reflection. I'm trying to achieve something like that. It might be quite difficult with what we've got at home, but I'm going to try the best I can to make this work. So that's the kind of process I like to do, is just to have a look at the Instagram page, have a look at the brand's page, see what they're putting out, see what they like, and then go and find some inspiration. Don't go and copy other people's work, obviously. I'm not suggesting that you do that. But if you're going to go and have a look at some Pinterest photos just as inspiration, you'll find some really awesome ideas there. I think the most important thing to remember here is you need to consider what the client wants. What is the ultimate goal of every business? That the business wants to sell the product. So you need to make sure that the product looks so good that it needs to just be sold, that a customer wants to go into the store and buy the image. So you need to look at it like that. You need to look at it like this is something that we need to make as beautiful as possible so that it can be sold. Simple, it's really quite simple. So you need to try and make it appealing, make the bottle look appealing. We're going to try all of those things today, but I'm going to do it very, very fluidly. I'm not going to overly script it or anything like that. I'm literally going to set it up, show you some little very cheap and easy tricks to kind of get the best image out of this with what you have around the house. Really quite simple. I think that's enough talking for now. Yeah, we can jump. I think we can just jump straight into it, and yeah, I'm really keen for this. Hey guys, so we've just jumped into my kitchen. I know it's not the most ideal studio setting, but it was the only place in my flat that actually had decent light coming in right now. So everything we're going to be doing is literally in my kitchen. There's no other fancy stuff. You might be able to see here, I have a camera tethered up to my computer over here. This is what my computer is seeing. I have a camera over here. You can see me over there. So I want to try and start designing the actual scene here. What I did was I went to Fabric World just down the road. It's a fabric store, and I managed to get some fabrics. These are just simple, I don't actually know what this is made of, but just like a viscose material. Just a simple fabric. So I'm going to kind of create a mini studio setting with these two pieces of fabric right now, and yeah, let's see how that goes. Okay, so I've managed to set up my backdrop. I've got it set up here. It's just a simple black backdrop. There were a little bit of creases, just a couple creases in the actual backdrop, but I can maybe get a little bit of photoshopping done to get them sorted. I don't really have the time. The light is running away from us. So yeah, so I want to kind of push down in the middle of the backdrop, just there, to kind of create that weird V shape. I quite like that, and I think it'll center the image quite nicely. So I'm going to pop the bottle of gin on top of there. So I'm going to quickly just take one shot just to show you what this setup looks like, and that's what it is right there. Very simple, basic kind of shot with a black background, the bottle of gin. The shot is looking a little bit boring right now. What I'm going to do is take a DIY reflector that I made. I actually spray painted this silver on one side. It's just a piece of polyboard that I got from the store, and I'm going to use this to shine light and kind of control the light onto the bottle of gin, and we'll see what we get. So I have the polyboard just reflecting some of the sun here, so you can see I'm just kind of like controlling the light like this, and I'm going to aim it directly at the bottle like that, and let's see what we can get here. See if that's a little bit more exciting, a little bit more dramatic. Yeah, I think that looks quite decent. So I'm actually thinking that this image is going to look a lot better at like f1.8, because I'm going to get a little bit more depth of field, a little bit more blur in the background. So I'm actually going to drop it down to f1.8, and I'm going to bring my shutter speed back up to about 100, let's say 200 for the second. There we go, lovely. So it's really quite a dark image now. If you have a look at the computer there, very, very dark, very intense, kind of like dramatic shot. I'm going to go across here and I'll grab my reflector again and just push light straight into it, just to kind of create a little bit more excitement in the shot. And grab that, let's see what we get. A little bit more exciting. I can maybe do a bit more. I think I can. Hold on. Usually you should have an assistant for this, but I'm alone today. There we go. That's really nice. Awesome. Let's have a look. I want to just jump in here and have a look at the image and see what it looks like. Now I can see it's not the sharpest image in the world because we're shooting at f1.8, but I really am happy with that kind of image as a final shot for natural light. It's still got a bit of a commercial feel. I'll take that into Lightroom and do quite a bit to it, but it's a good starting point for a nice commercial shot that could be used. And this image is going to edit very well. So once I take this into Lightroom, I'll be able to kind of like manipulate it perfectly and get it looking exactly how I want. But I think that's pretty decent for 10 minutes or so of work. Okay, guys, so we're back in my studio now, and we have the same setup, the exact same setup here with the bottle and the backdrop. Exactly the same, nothing's changed. We're just going to be using flash for this, so it's the only change is we're using flash. Now I'm using off-camera flash for this because I wanted to try and adjust where the light is, try and make the image quite exciting by adjusting the angle of the flash and putting it in different spots. So I'm going to show you what it looks like, the image looks like now without any flash at all. So we're going to have a look at that now. The image is completely dark, very, very dark. There's nothing going on there that's too exciting. I'm going to turn my flash on now. And I'm going to just dial in about, I'm going to go for 1/16 power on my flash. I'm going to just hold it directly above the bottle here and see what we can get. I'm holding it just so that there's enough light on the front of the bottle, but also on top. Let's see how that looks. That's probably not going to look too great, but let's give it a go. A little bit, it's quite a dramatic shot. There's a lot of light spilling here, which doesn't look great at all. So what we could do there is just lower the power of the flash a little bit more. I'm going to do that, drop it down to 132, give that same thing a go, see how that looks. Getting a little bit better, still not extremely excited about that. So what I'm going to do is actually just switch my flash. I'm going to try something else completely. I'm going to go to 1/16 power, It's got 1/8 power. I'm going to bounce it off this reflector. I've got a reflector directly next to me. I'm going to hold it right next to the reflector and just hit go. There we go, and let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's quite a nice shot. That's really, really nice. I'm going to bring it a little bit closer to the actual bottle. I'm going to do the exact same thing, just straight in there, bouncing off a reflector. So it's not like I really know what I'm up to. I'm really kind of like winging this as I go. And I think it's good to actually just experiment and have fun with this stuff sometimes. You don't have to take everything too seriously. I really like that shot. That looks really beautiful. What's my aperture? I'm set to 5.6. That's a very sharp shot. And that's also going to edit very, very well. Let's try a few different things. And I'm also going to adjust the zoom of the flash to be quite tight. So it's going to be on 200mm. The zoom is going to be on very, very tight 200mm, which means it's actually going to flash a very small amount. It's going to be quite a precise beam of light. Let's give that a go. And I'm going to bounce it off. I'm going to shoot it through the back of the bottle. I think this guy can see me. On the back of the bottle here, it's going to bounce off this reflector and back onto the bottle here. Let's see how that goes. There we go. Let's take a look at that. Oh, that's quite interesting. I'm going to bring it out because I clearly got in the shot. I was actually in my own shot there. So I'm going to bring it out a little bit. Fire. Give that a go and have a look. Interesting. So I'm using one flash here, and all I'm doing is just lighting the back of it, the back of the bottle. It's hitting the back of the bottle, it's bouncing off the reflector, and then it's bouncing straight back onto the bottle. I feel like I'm going to play around with it a little bit more because I really do actually quite like that. I think it just needs a little bit more refinement. What it actually needs is a little bit more of a snoot. So actually what I'm going to do is quickly go and find something that I can use to snoot this flash. Alright, so I have found a pamphlet that we recently bought a new can. So I found a pamphlet. It's quite dark on the inside, so it shouldn't change the color too much. I'm going to use this as a snoot to completely direct the light just on the back of the bottle. I haven't tried this yet, so let me see how it looks. There should be no spill here at all. Give it a go. Might be a little bit too dark. Yeah, that looks really nice. I'm actually going to push, what I'm going to do now is push the brightness up on the flash, power of the flash up a little bit. So I'm up to 1/4 power now on the flash. I'm going to give that a go. One more try there, and fire. Awesome. See how that looks. Really nice. Beautiful shot. Okay, cool. I'm going to take 1 or 2 more shots, guys. I've got the snoot over the flash, just literally like that, I'm holding it. You can make your own fancy snoot, Google it. There's some YouTube videos on how to do this. Okay, cool. So just to show you what I'm doing now, you have a reflector here, I have the flash here, and I'm going to shine the flash literally into the back of the bottle here. It's going to bounce off the reflector and hit the front of the bottle of gin. Let's give that a go. Just going to take a couple to make sure I'm really happy with that. Let's take a look. So they're going to come through now. There we go. So the last one I really like. I don't want any spill on the floor here of the backdrop. So what I'm going to do is just aim it a little bit higher, coming from a lower angle, just like this. There we go. Let's take a look at those shots. Much nicer. I'm still feeling a little bit too bright on the flash. I'm going to drop it down again a couple stops, or like a half a stop. There we go. Let's take a look at those. And that's much nicer. That is beautiful. So having a look at this image now, I've just got exactly what I wanted out of this image. I just love that kind of shot, that moody, intense, kind of very dark, and it kind of lends itself beautifully to the bottle and to the brand itself. So yeah, I think that's a really, really nice way to create your portfolio. Think about a concept, think about what you want to achieve here, and actually start putting something together, and you can create these kinds of images literally with what you have around the house. I know that I've got a bit of a fancy setup. I'm using one of the best cameras ever made. This is a Sony a7R IV, which is an insanely good camera, and I'm using a flash and a speedlight trigger. But I'm using this board that I created here. It's completely, literally made with some foam board and some spray paint. I think it cost me maybe 200 Rand altogether. And backdrop I got for 20 Rand or so from Fabric World. So you don't need very, very expensive stuff to make great photos. You can make some amazing photos with what you have around the house and basic photography equipment, whatever you might have. So we're in my Lightroom now, and I've managed to get all of the images in, and I've done some select to the image set as well. I've selected 8 of my favorites, and I've also narrowed it down to 2 that I would most likely use. So these are the 8 that I like. I'm just going to show you all of them here. So let me just make this nice and big. And these were all shot obviously with the same camera, A7R4 here you can see, and the Sony Zeiss 55mm 1.8. And these 3 here, these 3 images were all natural light, and then these 5 images here were shot with my strobe. I've then actually narrowed it down to, let me get my loop view. I've narrowed it down to these 2 images as my favorites, this one and this one. So this image to start off with is shot with natural light, completely natural light. So this is when we actually bounce the light off into the actual scene, and this is what we got. So this is the kind of image that I could actually do quite a bit with. I know it doesn't look that incredible right now. I'm most likely going to remove some of these wrinkles in the fabric here, just a little bit, and I'm going to also add a little bit more drama to this shot by darkening it up a little bit with one of these, what is this called? Graduated filter. I'm going to darken this side in like that, and I'm actually going to drop down the exposure of this shot quite a lot. And then I'm going to go in with another brush, I made this brush called Face Doge, and it just like makes specific parts of the image pop out a little bit. So just kind of paint it on there like that, and it should pop out quite nicely. And I'd actually probably go ahead and do another one of these graduated filters from this side. That's the wrong one there. Let me go down to darken, blacken, and another kind of filter there, and then I'm going to actually do another one from this side. Let me just try that again. Oh my goodness, there we go. Just to kind of make a little bit more drama in this image. And I quite like where this is heading. Hope you can kind of see my vision with this. I really wanted something quite dark and dramatic, and to think that we can make that kind of image with just natural light and just a reflector is quite great. So I can actually adjust the white balance as well. I feel like 5,000, maybe 5,200 around here is a good spot for this image. I'm also probably going to go and adjust the tone curve, drop down this section and lift up this section as well. This is not really an editing tutorial, but I wanted to kind of show you guys, you know, roughly what we can make with this kind of image. You can also just fiddle around, see how you feel. If you want to make something a little bit brighter like that, that looks quite spicy. No, that looks awful. So that's the natural light image. It's quite a dramatic shot. So I mean, it's a bit of an over-the-top edit maybe, but the point kind of remains. You can do a lot with that kind of shot. Now this is the shot that I really liked, and I think this is a great starting point for more intense commercial shot or kind of image. First thing I'm going to do is just straighten this up, and this is the one I'll probably focus on more in terms of an edit. Now, one thing that I didn't do properly, and I'm a bit of an idiot for doing it, is clean the bottle. Guys, whatever you're shooting, make sure you clean it properly. I didn't do it for this one. You can see all these little specks here. So a little bit of a silly mistake I made there, but you know what, that is actually fine. I could just say that it's water on the bottle, it's not the end of the world. Now, first things first, you can see that I didn't do the best job of ironing the cloth. So I can go ahead and just darken that area up a bit. I was going to do that anyway, and you can probably not see it as much. I'm going to darken it again from this side here. and that kind of masks that issue there. These kind of wrinkles here, I'm just going to zoom in. You see these here. These could actually all be removed quite easily just with this removal tool in Lightroom. You don't have to even be very good at it. You could just kind of like get a rough area. But again, guys, this is all a lot easier if you just do it. If you just do it on the day. Get someone who can iron properly. I'm not very good at ironing. But that kind of thing you can do quite easily and just kind of readjust. That's a disaster. Let me just fix that quickly. So I want to go for something that's a little bit more nearby to that texture. So roughly there I think is decent. Yeah, that's okay. So that's what I would kind of do, just kind of sort that out there. Again, this is not an editing tutorial. This one I think is quite important to get rid of because that's just a very weird spot that. And I'm going to just bring it and drop it right below it, and it's going to mask out that spot there. We'll just kind of correct that spot because that's. So I'm not even doing this in Lightroom. I'm doing this all in. I'm not even doing this inside Photoshop. This is all inside Lightroom. It's quite a powerful tool. Cool. I mean, that's fine. I mean, it's not like perfect, but it is what it is. I quite like these little particles of dust floating around in the air. I didn't intend for that to happen. So what I'd actually probably want to do is just to kind of like kind of lean into that effect a little bit more. It wasn't something that I was intending on doing, but it actually looks quite cool. So I'm going to go to my exposure. I'm just going to press K on my keyboard. K, where is it? There. And it actually brings up this little brush thingy here. It's called the adjustment brush, I think it's called. And then you can make your exposure all the way to the top. And then you can make your brush as small as possible. And what you can do now is obviously just turn up your flow. And just you can actually paint in little pieces of dust if you want. Just like little particles if you want to kind of go for that effect. Now these first few ones were way too harsh. I'm going to get rid of those. And I'm going to put my flow on 70%. And I'm going to paint a couple in this side here. And I'm going to put my flow on to 80. Paint a few more. Just so it looks a little bit more natural. And then I'm going to paint a 90. You can kind of see where I'm going with this, guys. So I kind of like that effect. It's just a little bit of a cheat to make it look like it's maybe floating in stars. I quite like that. I'm going to also bring in an adjustment. What's this called again? This thingy. Graduated filter. One more on this side, but I'm going to darken it. And one more on this side. And I'm going to leave it like that. And now we're starting to look like a really nice image. Now remember, guys, this was shot with one flash and a reflector and a black piece of fabric. It's very, very dramatic, very intense shot, but I really like how this has turned out. I can go ahead and I can adjust my tone curve if I want as well. Just kind of refine it there. It's quite a cold image, so I might want to warm it up just slightly, just about 6500. I think is quite cool. And I can also go into my tone curve and adjust my I like to adjust this one, the yellow and the blue and yellow thingy. I don't know what it's called. The blue and yellow tone curve, blue channel and yellow channel. And you can kind of adjust this to kind of get a different kind of effect that you might like. Blue in the shadows and yellow in the highlights is quite a cinematic look that you can get quite an interesting shot for. But I think I'm going to stick to straight up what looks like black and white for this kind of image. So this is just a recap. This is the natural shot that we got. I can actually crop this in a bit more. That's the natural light shot, and then this is the studio kind of more dramatic shot with the flash. There's a lot we can do to this, guys. Like a lot. If you want to add a preset on, you can do that as well. But I think that's a pretty cool shot for one flash, you know, one flash, a reflector, and a little bit of time. It didn't even take that long to make this. Guys, thank you so much for joining me for this webinar, this pre-recorded webinar. It was a lot of fun teaching you guys about commercial product photography, and I really hope you guys enjoy and learn something from this. Please go follow at the Matt Masson on Instagram and Facebook, and follow at Sony Alpha SA. I would like to challenge you guys all after this specific webinar to go and DM some businesses, get in touch with some companies, and shoot their products for them, and tag us in those photos. We'd love to see what you come up with, and we'd love to see what you guys make. Again, thank you so much for joining me. Peace.